40 goal was.
Want to buy cars or go vacations. I did Ironman.
My 40 goal is still to do a half Ironman. I got 2 years.
You want any tips?
All right.
We're doing triathlon now for over 10 years.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, my only trick is how do you get better at it without working at it?
Good morning, everyone. There's still a few folks filing in. If everybody could please take their seats. The closer to the front, the better. And we'll get started here in just a couple minutes. Yes, sir.
When you guys going to do a Q&A at the end?
Yes.
Do you want mics to go to the,
Yes.
and are those up here or is the guy?
He'll be in the back. Will you be my mic helper?
Yeah, I will. Then Tim Rogers is here. We'll probably, if they have two, we'll do each side.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And if all right, you can wave at me or something if you need anything. You know,
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Charlie Parham. I'm with Matrix Design Group. I am one of your elected directors for the Society of American Military Engineers. I am an old hat at being a moderator. I enjoy this quite a bit. Just like you all, it allows me to learn new things from a group of panelists. And so I'm happy this morning that everybody came and is interested in hearing about construction opportunities with the VA. And we have 4 distinguished panelists today. I'm going to introduce them. They're all going to talk for about 10 minutes apiece so that we make sure to leave some questions at the end. We will have a couple of the SAME volunteers going around the side. If you have questions, I just ask that you stand up, get one of the mics before you start talking, introduce yourself, and then ask your question, and we'll make sure the right person gets to the answer. We have only one major egress there. If anybody has to come and go, do that as you please. We don't anticipate any emergencies. I live here in Dallas, and so welcome to my hometown. I moved here 4 years ago, and I had never lived in Texas before, so I've learned a couple of things. I've learned that Friday Night Lights is a real thing, and I've learned that they like barbecue here quite a bit, which I match up quite well with that, and so I consider myself a Texan now. So I'll give you guys just one little tidbit of Dallas history. 56 years ago today, something pretty significant happened, really happened tomorrow. Anybody? JFK. So 56 years ago today, the president flew to San Antonio, and he was starting a couple-stop trip into Texas. And then 56 years ago tomorrow, he started his day in Dallas, flew over to Fort Worth, and had a couple engagements over there, and then flew back over here to Dallas before he took that fated drive. And so if any of you are interested in history, the Texas Book Depository is not too far away. You can go see that and the grassy knoll, and there's a wonderful museum that honors him in that terrible day for our country. And so it's pretty amazing history 56 years ago today. So let me get to introducing our panelists. We have Jenna Williams, who is the Director of Facility Operations in the Central Region for the VA. Jenna is a Marine, so be careful with your questions. She will come right over the table at you if they get too tough. She spent 4 years in the Marine Corps down at Camp Pendleton before she went on to get her degree. She's pursuing her certifications in architecture. She is married to a Marine as well, or from San Diego, a Marine from San Diego. They have a couple of lovely young children that I get all positive reports on. It's always, a little unnerving when you go out of town and you leave the kids at home. And so she now lives in Denver, and she's been there for 5 years. She got out just ahead of the weather yesterday, so we are lucky to have her. She's going to be our first speaker this morning. Our second speaker this morning is Brian Maluski. Brian is the director of the Office of Capital Asset Management. He is from the Cleveland area, so when you ask questions of him, there are no questions allowed about Baker Mayfield and how the Browns are doing. He said he's not going to answer any of those. He has two boys at home that are 5 and 2, so he considers this a little bit of a vacation. And we won't talk about pouring wine out or anything like that. So that's all good. All right. Our next panelist is Miss Cherie Peterson. She's the programs director out at the South Pacific Division. So she is the heaviest hitter on the panel here. She has a significant spectrum of responsibility, but she's going to narrow down and show you one slide about the VA opportunities. And so we look forward to hearing her chat. She is a UCSB grad, and then from undergrad, and then she's a UW Husky from graduate school. And so we're very happy to have Cherie here. And our final panelist is Mike Zapata. Mike is the Milcon branch chief down at AFCEC. And I've worked with Mike on a couple of different things where we've actually done some work helping them do some strategic planning down there at AFCEC. So it's nice to have Mike here to help us. You know, he's running a $3 billion program for the Air Force. He's got a lot of experience, 31 years of experience there with Milcon. And so he'll offer his expertise and talk about what the Air Force is doing. Mike is a Texas Tech Red Raider, which if you're from Texas, you know that everybody has their hand signals for their colleges, and they say guns up there from Texas Tech. And Mike is an active guy. He is a amateur triathlete, and he's also part of the Air Force's cycling team. And so we're glad to have this very diverse group of folks. They're going to share some great info with you guys. And again, look forward to hearing your questions at the end.
All right, thank you for that introduction, Charlie. Just to get a feel for the room, how many veterans do we have in the room right now? Awesome. Thank you all for your service. What about our SDVOSBs? And what about our VOSBs? And those two, raise your hands one more time. Those of you that are not, look at these folks, connect with these folks. We have a lot of opportunities. So you heard my bio, but I did want to tell you guys just one secret about me, if you all want to hear it. Do you? This is stuff that doesn't go in the bio. I love my job, okay? And I'm not saying that because my boss is somewhere in the back and my boss's boss is somewhere in the front. I love construction. It's challenging. It's awesome. I love it. But more importantly about my job is my mission. And we have an awesome mission for the veterans in the room. Those that are not here, our mission is to support our veterans. And ultimately, if you decide to do business with us, then you get to be a part of that mission too. As well as working with individuals like myself with our core values, which are I-CARE, integrity, commitment, advocacy, respect, and excellence. That's my secret. So what you guys all probably know, the VA is a huge organization. We're broken up into 3 major parts, our Veterans Benefit Administration, Veterans Health Administration, and our National Cemetery Administration. Our headquarters, you'll hear us talk about VACO, VA Central Office, with our secretary. There's an office in there called the Office of Acquisition, Logistics, and Construction. And then we're a small group of that. We're the C, the Office of Construction Facilities Management. And our office supports both the Veterans Health Administration and the National Cemetery on their major construction projects. So what we do is planning, designing, and constructing for all major construction projects which are greater than $20 million. You've heard in the past there's a recent increase in that from 10 to 20. Alongside of that, or prior to that, we acquire real property by purchasing land or buildings or lease acquisitions. We also manage the seismic program, physical security, and historic preservation. But ultimately, our goal is to deliver high-quality buildings to our veterans, to support our veterans. So the Office of Operations we have 4 regions. It's hard because it looks like we only have 3, but our Western region headquarters is out in Vallejo, California. Central region, the region I'm currently with, is in Gurnee, Illinois. And then both our Eastern region and national regions are located in Washington, D.C. Our national region is is the region that supports the national cemeteries. So they are across the country. And then we align, this map is a little bit skewed. So Vision 20, you'll hear about the visions later, but Central region and Western region kind of co-share that vision up in the top corner. This is how we are spread out across the country. So the VA-wide construction program, we have construction facilities management, which I mentioned, that's us. We do major constructions, projects over $20 million. We solicit these projects through design bid build. We also do leasing projects. And then our projects that are over $100 million, we go to a non-departmental federal entity, which right now we have a great partnership with the Army Corps of Engineers, and you'll hear from Ms. Cherie in a little bit. And then Brian's going to talk to you about the medical centers and their minor programs and NRM programs, and then our Office of Asset and Enterprise Management. It's also part of the VA, a lot of groups spread out through big VA that touch our construction. Inside CFM, we talk a lot about an operating plan, and we project when our projects are going to get awarded, when it has to do with the appropriations. When something makes it to the operating plan, it is right or die. We've got to meet that operating plan, right, Dennis? So that's one thing that we're tracking a lot of our work through the operating plans. And if you want to be strategic in planning your future with us, you can go to this website. These slides will be available to you for our long-range forecast. This is through the OSDBU, the Office of Small Disadvantaged. Let me slow down. Office of Small Disadvantaged Business Utilization. They provide our long-range forecast. Some changes within CFM, those who have done business with us in the past. We have our new executive director. It's Dr. Mike Brennan. He came on board just this month, and we are excited to have him. We will be getting a new associate executive director of operations because our current one, Mr. Dennis Milston, is going to be retiring, and I'm very sad about that. And then each of our regions has a regional director, and 3 of our regions have been without a regional director for some time, and those regional directors are on the way very soon. So a lot of change within our organization, and we look forward to what the future has to bring. So some of our opportunities within CFM, so these are the projects that are between the $20 million and the $100 million. I'm going to hold that slide there because I see you all taking pictures. In addition to the construction opportunities for particular projects, our CFM acquisition team has put together this direct access program where if you register with the Small Disadvantaged Business Utilization, you can set up a meeting and have one-on-one chats with the head of our acquisition or a CFM representative to answer any of your questions that you may have on a solicitation or issues with anything related to opportunities working with CFM. The dates are listed here, but the biggest thing is you need to register for this in advance. Here are some of our CFM opportunities with our USACE partners. I'm going to go over this, skip the slide so USACE can, yeah, I don't want to take her slide away. And as you can see here, these are some of our small business opportunities. There's a lot of information up here, but the biggest thing is back to the original question I asked you all. The VA is really big on working with our SD-VOSB and our VOSB teams. We have programs set aside to be able to do that, so it's important to us, and we want to share that with you and let you know that that's an important asset for doing business. I'm going to hold this one up for a little bit as well. These are just some valuable websites. We have 10 minutes to tell you everything about an organization that is very, very big. So if you want to know more about CFM itself or our Office of Small Disadvantaged Business Utilization, go ahead and check in there. Everyone's heard of FedBizOps, I'm sure. I just found out yesterday that it changed. So now it's the beta.sam.gov. So just know that there's changes coming. And everybody got a picture? So this is some of our regional key players. We have both project delivery and operations within each of our regions. These are our key players within those regions. If you have questions about a particular project within that region, knowing that it's a major, so pretty much between above the 20 million to 100 million, we can probably help you out with that if you have questions. And then if you want to have more of a one-on-one discussion, something I skipped over that you may want to dive into, you come visit us at booth 751 and we can share whatever information with you might have. That is all, and Brian is up next.
Thanks, John. So I'm lucky enough I get to fill in the rest of the confusion about VA. So if any of you can explain the VA structure, that's a pretty impressive task. Not sure. We sat as a panel and I tried to explain it to the three folks here who we work with, and I'm not sure they understood it. So we all had three very different opinions. So I think one of the key takeaways from Jenna's presentation, as I lead into mine, is $20 million and below is a significant threshold for us. So when I start talking about small projects, I'm talking about the $19 million one. For the life of me, that does not seem like a small project. So I'm over the Veterans Health Administration. I'm the director for the Office of Capital Asset Management, Engineering, and Support. Within the Veterans Health Administration, we're broke up into 18 regions, 4 before, 18 now. There's another overlay I could confuse you a little more with. The important part of this is these projects that are below $20 million are our bread and butter. That's how we operate and maintain our facilities. Those VISNs or networks there that are highlighted in different colors, those are the regional areas. All of those organizations are managing their own programs. They're supported through my office, funding comes through us, but they are the folks that are doing the work. They're the folks at the medical center, they're the boots on the ground. So we have approximately 1,200 engineering staff across the country that are working in those different regions. Today and this week, we have 18 capital asset managers, basically 18 making up the 23 numbers. So VA math's a little different. When you get 18, you count 1 to 23. It's kind of hard to figure out, but it's 18. When you look at our capital portfolio within VHA, we have a couple different programs we're working, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. We have our non-recurring maintenance program. Our non-recurring maintenance program is our bread and butter. This is how we maintain and support our facilities. So if you're talking about replacing a boiler, upgrading a chiller, a roof project, renovating inside a building, that is the program we use to sustain operations with. They're not strategic initiatives. They're literally the things that help us keep the lights on, maintain compliance, things of that nature. The minor construction program are those projects where we're building new space. So putting a parking garage up, building a new clinic under $20 million. Those are two programs that we focus on. Leasing is also a program within our office. Any lease that's under $1 million in unserviced annual rent, we will execute that locally, meaning at the medical center level. So all those requirements are coming from them. So CFM's not executing them, we are. So couple different thresholds there. I think key piece here is there's a portion of projects that are very large. CFM's our execution arm for those projects. We partner with them. We partner with the Corps of Engineers. And then anything smaller than that, we execute those locally. So we do a lot of work in those local programs. This is just more about the administration. We have an enormous portfolio. The average age is like 1951 of our buildings. So we have a very new set of buildings we're working with. This slide, what we're trying to show here is our non-recurring maintenance program. $1.8 billion we executed last year. That's a significant program. We did that across 18 networks with 1,200 engineers on the ground. That's just what was obligated in last fiscal year. So if you're looking to do work in the Veterans Health Administration and you want to do work, these are not the fun projects. These are the projects we do a lot of, though. These are the studs and cruds. These are the things running new chillers, running new piping systems, working inside an occupied hospital. So if you're interested in infection control, you're interested in helping us improve those facilities, this is where the opportunities are. They're challenging projects. They demand a direct oversight, good A&E firms, good partners doing construction. So this is what we do. And if you look across all the different networks, everybody was funded very well over the past years, and that only scratches the surface of what we need to do in the future. So Congress has been very supportive of us over the last couple of years in supporting that program and fixing what we have. Our minor construction program, not as funded as well, but still $500 million. So that was just last year. Those are the new projects we started. You look at the design and construction obligations. If you tend to look at where the big spikes are, if you look at where veterans want to move, typically they're moving south. They want to get out of the weather. They want to get out of the Northeast. They want to go west. So that's where you see a large spike in some of them. You can follow that in the budget submission. So if you're interested in looking at, where we're building parking garages, if that's your niche, go to our federal budget submission. You'll see what parking garages we're approving. So there's a marketing strategy and a way you can get there to understand our business opportunities. This slide, I'm not going to go over detail. This is just a breakdown of where we see our investments being, type of projects, and the kind of money that we're associating with them. So all these slides will be available after the fact, including some project lists that we're going to publish. So you don't need to take pictures if you want to. We will make these available. I figured since I have the SAGE, yesterday I was able to talk to the A&E community. Today I'm getting to talk to more construction opportunities. So we talked about how are we going to solve a problem. The biggest problem we're facing and the biggest opportunity we see is what's called our electronic health record modernization. You may have heard VA is going to an electronic record. We're partnering with DOD. We're matching the system. It's going to be an integrated system. You guys are thinking, I do construction. Why do I care? When you trickle that down, we need to modernize our OIT infrastructure. So this is the biggest program we have. It's the top priority for our department. It is something we're going to execute a single NRM project at every medical center across the country. So if you as a contractor know OINT data systems, structured cable and fiber backbones, data centers, this is a place we're going. We're doing this right now. We're doing assessments. We're out here looking this week for partners. We think we have ideas how to do it. We don't think we have the best ideas. We think the best idea is out here somewhere. So we're looking for you to come forward. I talked to the A&E community yesterday. They all feel it's design, bid, build. They want to do the design, roll it. I think there's a mixture. There's some design, bid, build. There's some design, build approaches. There's some that are just straight construction service type contract work. So if you think you know how to help us solve HVAC issues, structured cabling across every medical center in the country, we're doing that. We're working west to east and we're moving forward with that right now. So that will be a top priority for us. I highlighted this because this is the one you're going to read in the media. This is the one in Congress right now being debated. It's a need, it's a requirement, and it's very different than our typical project. We typically allow each medical center to develop their own project and move forward. In this case, we're prescribing it from a national level. We're making the funding available. We want a larger approach. We want to get this quick win, get this moving so that we can deploy this health record for veterans. This just defines a little bit about our programs. So I talked about the money earlier. These are really just the program definitions. If you think non-recurring maintenance doesn't sound like a construction project, what that is fixing what we have. So if we have a function today, we have a clinic, what we're doing to maintain operations beyond maintenance, that's what the non-recurring maintenance program is. The key piece of this is it's a single year appropriation. So these projects are going to hit the ground early in the fiscal year. We're going to obligate that money to somebody that year. It's not going to carry over or we're going to lose it. So those projects We do a very good job executing those. Minor construction program, this is for building new space. This is a 5-year appropriation, so a little less risk, but still a priority for us. We can carry the money over, they're bigger investments, but it's a 5-year appropriation coming from the Milcon bill. This is probably the most important slide I have today. These are the people that know the project regionally. 18 different capital asset managers, basically working way across the country. We've got their name, we've got their point of contact, got their phone number. They are here this week, so if you want to work in an area, these are the people you need to talk to. If you're interested in Florida, we have somebody here that can talk to you. Interested in Ohio, there's somebody here. So this is good information. These are all the folks that are developing the projects, running the annual operating plans, determining which projects are going to be funded each fiscal year. They're working closely with my office, but I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't procure a single construction last year. They did all the work for us. They made us look really good too. So that concludes mine. I'm going to introduce Sherry now.
Thank you. And I was noticing that Charlie, in his introduction to me, didn't say anything about my nice children, because he knows that I spent 45 minutes right before this seminar calling Verizon trying to get Call of Duty off my 11-year-old son's phone. So, but thank you for including us in this panel. The Corps of Engineers, about 3.5 years ago, started a partnership with VA to bring their oh, my slide is next. Where's the space bar? Okay. I'm going to stay on this slide for a little bit and then go to the specifics. So our offices, we oversee a 5-state division, and we're located in San Francisco, California. And as you might imagine, San Francisco is not what you'd call a hotbed of federal construction. The construction, particularly medical construction in that area, is being financed by people like Facebook or Salesforce. And I can tell you, they don't offer some of the challenges and the restrictions that we have in the interest of fairness, but I think we also have better opportunities for small business than any of the larger companies that are out there. But as a federal employee, I can tell you that nobody knows what federal construction is in the Bay Area. It's just invisible, as is frankly almost all of DoD. But when I'm explaining to folks around me, and I live just south of San Francisco, explaining to folks what I do, the construction that we do for the VA is the one that really resonates with folks. You know, you might not think of San Franciscans as the big Army supporters, but they also want to take care of their veterans, and they're very supportive of programs like this. So this is the program of which I am most proud to be a part of, even though I have a wide span of control over all sorts of programs. We also do, which is really not part of this discussion, but we also do medical construction for active duty Army. Our most recent accomplishment was the Weed Hospital at Fort Irwin. It's the only hospital, private or public, in the country that is platinum LEED certified. Which is, we had a number of small businesses who work different parts of that, so we're very pleased with work that we've done there, and we've taken those lessons learned, as well as partnering with VA to get their lessons learned on their major medical construction to try to make this a smooth process for both us and our contractors. So, any other suggestions? All right. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about our overall program, and then if it moves, it moves. If it doesn't, I can see a small version. I can discuss it. So we have, in just our area of operation, which is California, Arizona, Nevada, and New Mexico, and Utah, we have about a $3 billion VA construction program, and we are constructing everything to meet both seen and unseen wounds of our veterans. This includes mental health facilities in Long Beach, California, spinal cord injury facilities in San Diego, research facilities in San Francisco, as well as a brand new community-based outpatient clinic in Stockton. And I was just at that groundbreaking, and I can tell you there were over 300 people at that groundbreaking, and they were all veterans and all who'd worked very hard to have that facility. So it was the best groundbreaking I've ever been to, with the most enthusiastic crowd. So we do have quite a lot of our program still to go. Oh, and the other thing, as Brian brought up, parking garages. We are doing parking garages because I can tell you those, in some instances in these older campuses, are as important as the actual facility themselves. And I can tell you that my 91-year-old uncle, who's a World War II veteran, wants parking very close to his medical facility. So, yeah. All right, I'll let the tech guy take care of that. I was successful with Verizon. That's my tech for the day. Okay, so there we go. This is what we have coming up in the next year or so. Of these, obviously, many of these are beyond the capability of most small businesses. However, will almost always be small business partnering requirements in our acquisition plans. So we would expect and we would hope that you would be looking to partner with some of the larger firms to deliver these products. The only one that is currently advertised right now is the San Diego VA Medical Center. That is a spinal cord injury with a parking garage as an option. We hope to do both of those. We're planning to do both of those. The Livermore realignment is actually 2 locations. We have things coming up in both Stockton and Fremont. The San Francisco VA Medical Center, which is it is a seismic renovation that will likely be going out it will be going out in mid-2020. The Alameda-based community clinic, there are several projects leading up to this larger one that might be of interest to small business. There'll be some site work. There'll be, we have to do wetlands mitigation because it's currently a large wetlands site there. And there will also be a columbarium being built. So the 220 number really encompasses a lot of things, but those 3 pieces that I mentioned will be much smaller and will be available in early FY20 with the wetlands mitigation piece being the first one. Long Beach VA Medical Center, we have two active construction projects there right now. We have mental health inpatient and outpatient, and then we have RCLC. This $20 million one is a parking garage. Yay, everyone's excited. So we'll have much greater access to this facility. The critical care tower in LA, obviously this is a huge project. It will be funded over time. We're in the very beginning design stages, and again, it will be in FY23. So as we are handling only the medical facilities for VA over 100 million, some of them we've been able to break down into smaller amounts, but most of them are going to be in quite large. But I say that would be the entirety of our program that is available in the next year. There will be definitely phases and programs after that. So please keep your eye open, not on FedIsOps, but the new replacement. But we will continue to work very closely with CFM, with the medical centers to deliver these projects and make sure these opportunities are available to our small business community. Thank you. And Michael is up next. Good luck with your slides.
I gotta get a mic, okay. All right, okay. Okay, and I can tell you that Call of Duty is totally worth it, so, all right. So, plug for the kids. Okay, all right, let me get settled up here. All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Zapata at the Air Force Civil Engineering Center. Talked to the AE guys yesterday. Slides are a little bit similar, a couple of tweaks, but really glad y'all are here today. Construction is really exciting, and I'm very, very glad to be part of it, and appreciate all the work that you all do for us, for the Department of Defense, and for VHA. All right, just a quick overview, organization, some of the medical milcons, some challenges, opportunities, and we'll go over that. Organization, AFCEC, Air Force Civil Engineer, we're not like the Corps and NAVFAC. We're not regionalized. We're centralized in San Antonio, Texas. We do have a branch over in Tyndall Air Force Base. They have our operations readiness, and our energy folks are over there. We're all in facility engineering. If you, in your programs, the SAME conference programs, page 68 has names and phone numbers, and you're welcome to visit me at booth 1816. I'll be there from 2 to 4 today. If you want to find somebody or want to talk to somebody, we can help you with that. A couple of things the way Air Force Medical Milcon does is that the Air Force Medical Readiness Agency, AFMRMA, generates all and develops all our facility requirements. They do all the long-range planning, kind of seeing where things are going. Our requirements are prioritized across the services. The Defense Health Agency, we're going to talk about them in a little bit here, prioritizes all the work across the Department of Defense. And they issue also the design authorizations to the agents, to the Corps and to NAVFAC. And we use the agents as AFCEC does not do any DACA. We're not a design agent or a construction agent, but we do manage the design and the construction and work with the product delivery team, managing all the stakeholders, conflict resolution, and all that goes with it. Project design is design bid, build, or design build. Leaning a lot more in Medical Milcon toward design build, kind of leveraging some of the innovations and things with the designers. Several of our health facilities have won design awards in the Air Force, which is really exciting. The other thing is, too, is that some of the healthcare facility criteria is very specialized, very distinct, and very detailed, and having that designer and construction relationship works really well for us. We do some design bid build, and we'll talk about some projects. I've got a project list for you here a little later on the slides. AEs are selected versus source selection or IDIQ, and the agents conduct source selections on that. So if you're going to ask me for opportunities, I'll give you a starter list and something that you can kind of work with. But if you go to the agents where that project is, you can dialogue with them and their opportunities of where that work is going, and be able to find out more about that. Okay. All right, some news things here, a couple slides. The 17 NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, directed the Department of Defense to make DHA, Development Agency, responsible for all the medical treatment facilities, including MilCon. Basically, it's kind of an internal centralization effort, kind of having, instead of having all the services do all their own thing, kind of centralizing it under DHA to create some cost efficiencies and some organizational efficiencies. Kind of centralizing that. Part of that is the facility life cycle management, which includes not only our MilCon but also our FSRM on that. Okay. Some challenges we're seeing in MilCon. One of the things I wanted to kind of just let y'all know about is help your dialogue with folks as you're talking about it with other, if you're looking at primes or someone else. You know, we have a limited TOA. We're starting to see right now, as before I left, came up here, I kind of checking on see if things are going. There's a lot of discussions on what we're going to do with the 21 program and beyond on that. We have a lot of large projects that are kind of eating up some of our TOA, but also looking at kind of sliding things out to cover some bills that we have here. So kind of watch that and kind of see where it goes. As you all know, we have a pretty hot construction market, driving a lot of bid busts. This is why we ask for some of our, hold your bids goods for 6 months or so, because we have to go with what we call a above threshold reprogramming, an ATR, where you have to go back to Congress, reprogram the project, and we also have to find the dollars to cover that. That kind of drives another topic here I'm going to talk about in a sec. Healthcare visibility is driving attention to established criteria. Again, as I mentioned earlier, very specific. In the Department of Defense, with healthcare facilities, we have a specific design guide, and I recommend, as you as contractors and constructors kind of look at that to get a flavor of what we're talking about in terms of criteria. That's kind of what drives our designs. UFC, Unified Facilities Criteria 4-51001. If you need that, I'll be here afterwards, and I can tell you how to get that on that. But that's a pretty lengthy document, 450 pages or so. It outlines all our criteria, technical criteria, what we're expecting to see in our facilities, and kind of helps you do some of the decision making in the design work. Or if you run into a problem in construction, you can kind of see the rationale behind why that design is there on that. Some things how you can help, thorough cost estimates. We're having a big problem with costing. I think it's a theme that we've heard all this week. If you're looking at something to bid on and there's something that's not clear, everything, ask for clarifications. Just don't throw in a number to cover risk. We're having a lot of issues with that. Please, if you contact the agent, talk about a clarification, kind of get that straight, and we can help you dial that in. Help us manage costs through quality value engineering efforts. Just as it was Brian had mentioned about, we're looking for great ideas, looking for things to make things better, faster, stronger. It's exciting to live in this time, in this technological age where technology is really growing at such a fast pace that we can do things maybe faster or different. So we're really interested in that type of thing. Flag constructability concerns early. If you see something that's not right or it's just really not going to work, let us know early up in the process, so that way we can kind of address that and be able to fix that earlier in the project before it causes some bigger problems down the road. All right, here's kind of a list here, and as Brian said earlier, these slides will be made available to you on the website, on the same website, and definitely can do that. But I've got kind of a list of projects here, kind of the agent. That's where you can go to talk with them and kind of see where the status is on those, and kind of go from there. So right now, our program in construction today, we have about 12 projects in construction, 12 major projects, about $500 million, $450 million in work. So quite a bit of large projects and also a lot of opportunities for y'all to get involved. Okay, and that's all I had. So I'm at booth 1816. I'll be there from 2 to 4 today if you'd like to do that, and I'll wait after the presentation if y'all have any questions. So, Charlie, back over to you.
All right, thanks very much, Mike, and thanks to all of our panelists. So we're going to get to questions. Before we do that, let's give a quick round of applause to our tech help in the back who kept us on track. Thank you, sir. Those guys don't get near enough credit. I was working in a room yesterday morning after the SAMI XC meeting, and this same gentleman came in and he was getting the room organized and he was working his tail off, and so we do appreciate you. I also want to thank our volunteers. So SAME goes across the world, and when you come to an event like this, the local posts. I happen to be a member of the Dallas Post. The local posts get a huge opportunity to volunteer, and it spans not just this post, but a number of other folks volunteer. So thank you to our volunteers as well. They'll be going around with the mics. So if you have a question, just raise your hand. They'll get you a mic. Stand up, say who you are, where you're from, and then go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, good afternoon. My name's Noe. I'm with EYP, Architecture and Engineering, large firm. A couple of questions for you, and they may have different responses from different individuals. On the lead requirements for the VA facilities, we have a couple of minor projects we're working on with our partners, and we're doing the lead checklist. I guess just are those checklists actually being reviewed by anyone at the VA or VA staff when we submit them in our submissions? I know we're just designing to the lead criteria. We're not seeking the full certification, and I didn't know if in the future if that would be a requirement from the VA standpoint. So that, I guess, that's question number one, and I have a couple more I could just ask, or we can respond to one.
All right, we'll let them answer number one, and then we're going to go to the next questioner after that. But then you may get another chance depending on your peers. Go ahead.
And that was a $2 question, though. It get more expensive as it Sorry, so locally, those should be reviewed locally. There's an energy engineer who's responsible to review those for compliance. We understand we're not going for certification, but the fundamentals and what's on the checklist should be applicable. So those should be reviewed locally. Can I say they're all reviewed locally? I probably can't say that, honestly. Separate to that, with the minor construction program, those are requirements. As we go into the appropriation, there's expectations of meeting that criteria. So if you're not seeing that done, or you feel we're just asking you to produce a piece of paper that's not being utilized, then I'd like to talk to you offline about that. Not to get a name, but just to understand the issue. Because we do expect that the energy engineers are influencing that. That's the reason we have an energy engineer to help us sort of steer that development.
Any comment from Army or Air Force on lead certification?
So for active duty hospitals, typically it's in the contract that they need to be certified. For VA,
Certifiable or certified?
that it be able to be certified at the end of construction. As far as our VA projects, I would sort of echo what Brian said, that that's our goal. It's not typically required, in part because of the expense. To be quite honest, there's not always the funding left to take all the way up to the whatever lead certification, but we are going over those parameters so we can get as green a facility as possible with the funding available.
Yeah, just to the Air Force, yeah, we echo that. It's a goal because of the expense that's involved. The other side of the coin, too, is healthcare facilities are very dialed in to some specific criteria, so sometimes it doesn't lend itself to some of the energy efficiencies on that. But again, we do try to incorporate that into the facility design for the long-term costs.
Okay, next question was right behind that gentleman.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nicholas Rodich. I'm actually the head of government affairs for a medical device supplier, and we partner with GC's architects through our position in the VHA. My question is kind of macro. When it comes to DBB versus DB, how are those differentiated and decided either or when it comes to projects for construction?
Can you repeat the second part of that?
Yeah, so for the design, bid, build, or design, so how do you make a decision either or in that process?
I can speak for the Veterans Health Administration. So to be honest, we look at some of the things that some of our projects in the non-recurring maintenance program, we just don't see how a design build would fit. How are you going to run? We don't know what that solution looks like. What we do think is that for some of our clinics, parking garages, some of these things that are very much to be performance good, we can get there with design build, but it hasn't been our strong suit. There's a bit of a re-education going on inside the organization about where design builds fit with our authority. So I think you probably haven't seen a lot of design builds from us, to be honest. It hasn't been something done successfully, mainly because of an authority question, whether or not we had the authority to use it. We do. And we're trying to influence people to look at the parking garages, standalone outpatient clinics, things that are more isolated. I don't see a design build to renovate your OR and run medical gas piping across the campus. I mean, a great one. But we've seen those, and so we try to weigh that out, make sure folks are looking at that. But those decisions are made locally on this minor construction project, which I think was the point of your question.
So did that answer your question? Okay. Go ahead.
I was just going to add, for the major military, for the major construction that we're doing, most of the projects that we're getting, with few exceptions, are already at the 90% design or 95. So design build doesn't make a lot of sense. But for some of the other things that we're starting to do further along, we're definitely considering it. But it is tricky on some of these old campuses that we're working in. There's not a lot of space, not a lot of laydown space. So it doesn't lend itself as easily, but we are starting to consider that as well as some other innovative acquisition techniques where we can.
Some of the Air Force medical bill con the DoD aspects of it. Well, it depends on the complexity. What we consider is the complexity of the project, the size of the project, the amount of players that would be involved. Also, too, is that another aspect of it is that we try to put enough rigor and effort into the planning, charrette, and the planning, so we dial in the scope as much as possible, so design build becomes a more attractive type of procurement process. But we do have design bid build in that aspect, and as Brian has mentioned, some of our smaller projects may go that way depending on the type of efforts that are on. But we do consider that on that, but we like to leverage the innovative and be able to leverage the relationships between designer of record and the engineer of record to be able to facilitate projects. The other thing is design bid build. Design build, it helps us get the project out on the street faster, which is one thing that we're really interested in on that. So those are some of the kind of considerations that we look at on that, but it is case by case on that aspect. And
And just to add to the panel, one thing that CFM is doing, traditionally we would do design bid build. Our organization is looking at ways to do more design build for the reasons that Mike stated, but we're putting together a design build, program guide, so we can see how it works for our type of business. So hopefully we're evolving in that direction.
Okay, so I didn't see where the next question was coming from. Does the next person have a microphone in the back? Go ahead. Okay. Do we have a next question? We do in the back, and then we'll go back to the front.
Hi, Anthony Williams, Saw Contracting out of Virginia Beach. My question specifically to VHA, specifically NRM and miners. Is it at your level that you direct how something is procured, for instance, doing RFPs versus doing ITBs? And second question I have is about NICS codes. Is that directed at your level, 236 versus a 238, or is that at a lower level?
I can't touch the NICS code question. I can defer to my contracting partners. If you give me your card before we leave, I'll follow up with you. The decision to go RFP versus IFB, to be honest with you, it tends to be a timing question. We see much more benefit doing RFPs where we can have a meaningful discussion with you and actually negotiate with you and talk about what you've seen. I found that when we do IFBs, it's great if you get bids in on the table, but somebody were to ask me programmatically, how do I want to do a minor construction action? Those are planned over multiple years. I don't see a whole lot of value in doing IFPs. I just don't. I think there's opportunity for us to talk about the approach. And that's sort of the same reason we go to look at design builds for some of them types of projects. So my approach would be RFPs, but it's not always, it's sort of timing issue too. When there's time in a single year appropriation, we may not be able to get there, so we take the risk and go to IFP.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any a potential answer on the next question? No. Okay. So make sure to get your card up here, and we'll get that answer for you afterwards. Next question. I know we have repeat questioners, but anybody else first-time questioner? Okay. Right back down here to the front.
Great, thank you again, appreciate it. Noe again from EYP. Just clarification, and maybe some of you already know the answer to this, but maybe for some of those in the audience for the first time may not. Could you just explain again the NRM, CFM, and projects greater than over 100 million as far as the set-asides? So my understanding is that projects in the NRM, 100% set-asides for the small business, projects in the CFM, and those projects are typically design, bid, build. CFM projects at 20 million to 100 million, again, 100% set aside, I believe, and those have the option to be design, build, and then projects greater than 100 million, and I think you all had alluded to in your previous slide, I don't believe that has a set-aside requirement, if I understand correctly.
All right. Who would like to clarify that for this?
I'll start.
Do you want to go with a slide, or?
We'll start with the big one and work our way down. So I think that's the way to go. You're first then.
Well, all I was going to say is we discussed this question this morning and said, I really hope somebody doesn't bring up this question. we weren't sure of the official answer. So I'll turn it over to.
For the over 100 million, there's not a specific set aside, but we do expect that our large contractors would be working with small business, and that would be considered as part of the acquisition process.
I think you captured the threshold, $100 million and above to the right, $100 million to 20 million would be them. I'm in the middle of that, literally in the middle of today. But NRM, I don't think predominantly you're going to see those set aside, but you could see some other large non-recurring major projects. It could be built central plants, highly technical, maybe renovating multiple floors of existing hospitals. Some of those grow in size too, where they may be, the opportunity doesn't exist, there's nobody there locally that can do that work, so that may not be set aside. But predominantly you're going to see those in NRM minor construction as set asides, unless there's some unique driver there. There's just nobody in market that can do it. So, did that answer all 7 of those? I'm not sure.
I was going to add to that too. So one thing, we do have the rule too, and so part of our procurement, part of our procurement, they go out and do market research to see if there are capable small businesses to be able to do that. If there's 2 of them, then they will, it's my understanding that they will set that aside. But give me your card after this, and I'll find a real answer for you, and I will answer that for you.
No, thank you. I think, again, for those that are first-time attendees, it may be a little confusing to understand it, but the SOWs that are typically posted in the solicitations do clarify if it's a set-aside or what the requirements are. So it does make that crystal clear as far as what we need to provide or what type of teaming we need to do if we want to go after that solicitation. So I think that's where it tells those interested in the RFP what teaming needs to be done.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. You can hand that right over your shoulder again. I think we have a follow-up question there too.
Yeah, it's so different topic, but more about the Buy America Act in regards to contracting projects with GCs or construction organizations. When it comes to the expectation for the award recipient, is the BAA statute have to be followed by the contract holder, or is it expected that the BAA Act is actually adhered to by all suppliers as a part of that fulfillment of the contract? Who holds the need to fulfill that BAA compliance? compliancy?
Well, it's in the contract with the general contractor, so they would need to follow the expectations of the contract. So it's their responsibility to ensure that they're following the Buy America Act.
I'd also like to, I have a couple contracting officers in the audience, and they might be able to answer. You nodded your head when I looked at you, so.
All right, raise your hand if you're that person. Let's get you the mic if you want to answer it.
Have to comply with the Buy America Act, it's with the DC. Right. Correct. And the suppliers would have to as well. So you really need to read the contract thoroughly.
The clauses flow down to the subcontractors as well. So you're able to, so they're, you as GC are able to, uphold those clauses down to your sub. So when you go out and procure your subcontracts, all the clauses that we put into our contract as the agent, then those clauses also flow down to your subcontractors if you're the DC.
So I wanted to mention something, a question from earlier about the set-asides. So what's important for everybody here as a contractor, if you see a source is sought for a particular acquisition, it's very important that you reply to that source is sought, because that source is sought is used as the market research to determine whether something will be set aside or not. To assume that a $100 million project would not be set aside is not accurate. There's enough small businesses out there that can bond and perform, then that acquisition could be set aside for small business. And I've seen that happen.
Thank you very much for that clarification. So I'm going to go in a totally different direction here. So I had the privilege as a board member to lead the Society's 2025 strategic planning effort this past year. There was a team of 17 or 18 folks that was representative of the entire Society. So that was approved on Tuesday by the Board of Direction. And so in next month's TME magazine, you were going to see the new strategic plan for the Society. And so I urge any of you that get that publication to read it. If you don't get the publication, then go on the website and read it. SAME is headed in the right direction, and there's a lot of enthusiasm there. So take that back to your posts, get folks reading it, and set your plan for the future based upon that. We have a lot of excitement moving forward. Thank you all for attending this morning. Let's give one final round of applause to our panelists. And I'm going to ask them to stick around up front for just a couple minutes if anybody had a question that they didn't get to ask that they'd like to clarify. Thank you again. I have the same stories in my house where I did